Evening, everyone, and welcome to The Corporate. This is Chasel. I'll be your host for The Corporate Stories. And tonight, we are actually very excited because this is our pilot episode for The Corporate Stories, where we want to share the winning moments, joys of being in the corporate world. And for tonight, since this is pilot episode, we are excited to talk to a lady whose wisdom is really beyond my, imagination. I met her a few years ago, and I made sure that she will be the pilot guest for the Carpet Stories. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest for tonight. Is none other than the former managing director and treasurer of Suzuki Philippines, Miss Lyn Calderon. Hi, Miss Lyn. Good evening.
Hi, Jaisel. Good evening.
How are you?
How are you? I'm good.
I'm so excited because this is actually the first time na meron tayong Facebook Live for the corporate. And we really want to share stories of professionals in the corporate world. So, Ms. Lyn, before we actually start, I want to ask, how are you? I know you're so busy with a lot of things. Kamusta ka?
Still busy. I actually retired. I think that was 7 years ago. No? But after that, I had established my own consultancy firm, and I do some management consulting services. And but most of the time, I am more of a mother at home, no, domesticated, naglilinis ng bahay, no, nagdidilig ng halaman, wawalis, everything, cook, and sideline ko na lang ngayon yung consultancy business to update me on professional side.
Wow.
I am 90% or 80% retired, being a grandma, a mother, no, and a wife, no. And 20% I do some work from home consultancy.
Wow. 80% probably the job that you missed when you were in the corporate world, and 20% is still part of what you were doing in the corporate before.
Yes.
Wow. Miss Lyn, excited ako, no? 80-20, at least hindi pa rin siya nawawala. I'm so curious, as I have mentioned to you before we started. We've talked probably about a lot of things, pero hindi ko pa natatanong, paano ko ba nag-umpisa sa karera mo? How did you start sa corporate world mo, corporate journey?
Well, after graduation, ang first thing that I did was to look for a job, no? Having been from a very humble family, humble beginnings, ang objective ko is to earn money, get salary, and help my father support the family. So I got a job as a budget analyst. That time, the pay was a little bit higher compared with the minimum wage. So I stayed there for less than a year. But in order to pursue more on my professional career, I transferred to SGV. I was hired there as an accountant and stayed there for around 7 years. No, my career is more of so-so career. No, I did not shine. I was just an ordinary employee at SGV. But what I instilled in my being is the discipline, the professionalism, all the trainings and mentoring that I got from my bosses. No, so everything has sunk in me, and I believe after 7 years I was ready to engage into higher position in a multinational company. So I transferred to Suzuki after almost 8 years of experience. There I was hired as the chief accountant. So it was I think there was just a spin-off from the joint venture with the Filipino family to 100% wholly owned Japanese corporation. So I helped in computerization of the processes, established policies, documentation. I worked with the audit team and finance group of Suzuki Motor Corporation. So we helped each other to streamline the operations of the company and make it ready for bigger challenges and expansion of the company. So
was it hard? 7 to 8 years in SGB, and now
yes.
you are transferring to a multinational company. I know it's a little different kasi SGB is Filipino owned, though you guys are handling multinational companies too. And then you will be transferring to a certain culture na medyo iba sa SGB.
Culture is not a problem because Japanese culture naman is more on discipline. So in SGB, we learn to have self-discipline. We have commitment, a greater sense of responsibility. We face challenges and opportunities that come our way. So on the culture and environment, there was not much adjustment. It's more on the work itself because nag-transition kami from manual accounting system to dedicated system. No? So I tried to dive in with all the processes, business processes, in order to have a bigger picture of the of what we want to achieve for the organization as far as streamlining the operations is concerned. So other challenges, having worked with 5 Japanese presidents, it's not a joke. No? Different culture, different character, different management style. No? So every time there is a change in president, you transition again you have to start from the introduction of the Filipino culture, because we have to connect the Japanese culture and the Filipino culture. No? So minsan nagkakaroon sila ng culture shock when it comes to mga emotional decisions that the Filipinos have to do in order to more or less get the support of the people. No? So hindi lang basta-basta competence, no? And all about goals and results. No? Malaki yung adjustment ng Japanese in blending in sa culture ng Philippines.
Curious lang ako, Ms. Lyn. Paano yung journey mo sa Suzuki? From SGV, di ba, you have like a certain position before you became the managing director and treasurer. Tapos nabanggit mo that you work with 5 CEOs, Japanese CEOs.
Yeah, ang aming executive vice president were both Filipinos, no? So they used to be the member of the Antonio family, kasi Suzuki used to be Antonio Suzuki Corporation. So 2 of the directors, top executives of the previous company, of the previous family, was carried over to the multinational company, even if it's wholly owned. So initially, the challenge was I worked with Filipino executives. No, it's more of the family style to the professional organization. So nag-transition kami doon. I was able to learn a lot from my former boss, who was then the treasurer of the company, and the executive vice president, who was her husband. No? So silang dalawa helped me hone my skills in terms of building relationships with the dealers, improving the benefits of the employees, professionalizing the processes of the company. So I was given a free hand in improving all the processes. So I owe a lot to my previous bosses. And, working with 5 Japanese presidents, it's not really very difficult. Kasi being new to the country, they more of try to feel first, no? They want to observe the Filipino culture, the Filipino way of doing things, no? And since na-instill na naman yung mga discipline sa mga employees, yung transitioning is not really very difficult. No? So ang challenges is more of being able to meet your goals, yung achieving the results desired by the parent company. So everything, lahat naman was, I think, achieved. No? Most employees are supportive of the objectives ng the company. Wala namang naging challenges. In fact, you take everything a learning experience. Marami kang matututunan. You know how to lead people by example. You try to get their support. You have the opportunity to take part in the improvement of their benefits in order to motivate them and inspire them to be loyal to the company and to help the management achieve its objectives. Wow. So very, not really challenging, very inspiring, motivating. Every day, you look forward to something new, new learnings, new discoveries as far as what you can offer to the people and to the management as far as your skills and your ability to lead the company is also being put to test. No?
You mentioned Ms. Linda put to test. I want to actually ask you a question about that. How difficult it is to work in a multinational company and then you're in a certain position and then you have kids. You have
okay. As a leader, yung leadership style ko sa Suzuki is more of motherly. No? When you're a mother, you treat your kids like your own responsibility. No? And you have to be a master of paradox. Sometimes you have to be to make them feel you love them, but at the same time, you really have to instill discipline, mold their characters, make them realize the importance of responsibility, of being a good person, to have fear of God, no? Kailangan may takot sa Diyos, at alam din nila na on how to understand na working mother ka, no? Lots of challenges because your kids also feel only feel the absence, no? You cannot you can't have the best of both worlds, no? So you just pray that someday my kids will understand that I really have to devote my time and energy in managing this company, and at the same time try to think of their future, to be able to get good education, no? And be good citizens. No? Time has come that they try to compare or long for your attention, but that's part of the growing pains that your children will have to endure or else you cannot give them the best. No, no. So, but in time when they went to college and graduated, they have realized how much you have sacrificed for them. No? And I felt appreciated naman. No? So office lalo, alam naman din nila that you really have to double time. No? Yung mga presidents namin before, they were so understanding if I have personal errands to do for my kids. As far as I know, I seldom did I miss on their activities in school.
Wow. Wow. Oh, yun yung pinag-uusapan natin na it's a little bit challenging, but you are so proud to have this two young ladies and of course one guy na yung kids mo, no, kung gaano na sila ka-successful ngayon. Ms. Lyn, kanina you were mentioning
Very successful, but I feel the success in being able to make them graduate, make them earn for themselves, the independence. They don't have to rely on me as far as financial matters are concerned. Mababaw lang, ano namin, mababaw lang ang pangarap namin para sa mga anak namin. They have a better future. They can run their lives already without us giving support to them. No? Siguro the moral support and more on the guidance, andyan pa rin. Will never end, no, yung guidance mo sa mga kids mo, because every day is also a challenge for them. No? So I'm just here at the background with my husband. Background lang kami. No? So we don't meddle much into their affairs. No? Similarly, in an organization, if you are a leader, you try to empower them, you train them, you delegate things so that they'll be able to develop their leadership and they'll be empowered to do some decision-making matters. But since you are on the bigger picture, you don't meddle much into their affairs. You let them lead their own flocks so that they would be able to more or less hone their skills into decision making, and you also prepare them to be future successors of the organization. Kasi if you're always there at the background trying to be overprotective or trying to be perfectionist, they will be too much dependent on you until they cannot anymore decide. No.
So yung motherly care mo at saka kumbaga discipline, you brought that to the office.
Yes, so because Suzuki is my second home. The employees are my second family. No, it's an extended family ko. Every day of my life, it's not just about work. It's also about dealing with people. It's more on dealing with people. When up to management level, parang ang role mo is to deliver results, more on tasks oriented ka. As you grow in the organization, more ang focus mo is on people, no? Yung overall organization. You have to keep good people. You should be able to continue the kind of leadership that you want to for the success and the going concern of the business. You have to see to it that when you leave the company, will still the show must go on. I mean, no. Di ba sabi nga nobody is indispensable.
Yeah.
So by the time you're still there, at any given time, somebody can be indispensable, but not permanently. Temporarily, while you have not yet passed on the baton to the successor, sometimes you became indispensable. You become indispensable rather. Pero your goal should be to make yourself dispensable, so that one day they can fly, no, and soar, and also be given a chance to become leaders of the company. Kasi kung if you hold on too much to your position, masyado mong feel yung power mo, no? Baka ma-overwhelm ka and you forget that you really have to develop future leaders. So you have to grow leaders within the organization. That's the toughest job of a leader, to be able to grow another leader. No? Kasi all of us, mag-e-end yung career natin in the corporate world. No? Except for, of course, the owners. No? Considering that Suzuki is a multinational company, 100% wholly owned, even our presidents are also employees of the company. So, parati kaming may ending. No? So, ako, since I've worked with 5 presidents, it never dawned on me that I will be there for in my lifetime. No. As a matter of fact, I retired from Suzuki at the age of 57.
Maaga.
Our retirement age is 55. I was extended for another 5 years, but I opted for a yearly renewal to be able to have more time to make my successor ready for the position. So after 2 years that I retired and I realized that the next in line can do it without me, oh, it's time to go. It's time to go.
Miss Lyn, how long did you prepare your successor? And how did you choose? Siguro before I will ask how long, how did you prepare and how did you choose? First is how did you choose and how did you prepare the successor?
Okay, very challenging kasi yung nagkaroon ng union yung Suzuki ng 2 types of union, rank and file and supervisory. So I still had the management panel. So you're more engaged in CBA negotiations, improvement of benefits, dealing with people. No, so I am already overwhelmed with responsibility, being the next top position. For the Filipino positions, it's more on I was already at the top. No? So to be able to prepare the company for my retirement one day and also to distress and unload on my part a lot of responsibilities that are on my shoulder, I thought of developing successors already. So I hired controller and internal audit manager at that time. How many years? I think 14 years before I retired. I already hired my successor. And my objective at the time I hired them was to really develop them as my successors. I gave more than 100% of my time because it's not just about competence. When you hire managers from the outside, it's given. The competence level is already high. But what you have to mold their character for them to adapt to the culture of the organization, be able to more or less replicate your role in the organization, because I have very extensive role. It's not just about finance and accounting. I also deal with business relationships with our dealers. No, I attend business meetings with the owners of the different dealerships. No, so it was a very broad responsibility. So I tried to more or less what kind of what's that? More or less limit myself to top problems of the company. No? So they have their own flux. Finance and admin, risk management, risk advisory services. No? So there was even a time that the sales and marketing of the organization became under me, and even the Japanese executives worked with me. No? So it was a very nice opportunity, great opportunity in terms of growth. To be able to have access to business owners who are more or like Taipans. So being able to know their wisdom, how they manage to have these great companies, no? So I was so privileged to have access to those kinds of owners. No?
Miss Lyn, what was the biggest probably or probably the hardest challenge in your career when you were in Suzuki? Or was there one?
There's always, no? Hindi nawawala yun, especially dealing with people. I think more on pagdating sa trabaho, kinakaya mo because you have a lot of support from the different department heads, tsaka yung mga executives na Japanese. They're also very easy to deal with. Tsaka magagaling naman sila when it comes to their line of work. No? I think it's more on the people matters. No? Handling CBA negotiations. Kasi you have to make them understand that not everything that they request will be granted. I placed myself in the middle. No? While I negotiate on behalf of the management, I also have to negotiate with the management on behalf of the employees. I'm also an employee of the company. So I have first to set aside my personal interest to be able to come up with an objective recommendation. So to be able to get approval from a multinational company, from the parent company, you have to pass through a lot of justifications before you are approved. No? So yung challenge na you really have to make people understand that it's only what the company can afford. And of course, the Japanese, they cannot understand how come you can commit salary increases even if you have not yet earned it. Kasi ang CBA negotiations can last for the first 3 years and then last 2 years. No? So parang nag-fix ka na ng salary increases for something na wala ka pa namang kita, di ba? So how do you make them understand that? So you have to explain a lot and justify a lot of cost-benefit analysis, a lot of on the soft side and on the hard skills, no? Lahat explain mo yun. No? So, but I consider all challenges in the organization as part of my personal motivation to always compete with myself on how I can achieve results. Yung winning moments doon is pag na-close yung CBA negotiation, no strike, everybody happy, no? Yun na, yung winning moment mo is your fulfillment. Your fulfillment. Yung challenges mo every day. From the time you enter the premises, the challenge is always there. Hindi nawawala yun. Walang bed of roses when it comes to corporate world, no? Kasi you really have to work and deliver results. You have to make the organization profitable, no? You really have to give the management every reason to approve additional benefits and provide for the employees. No? So the employees are very lucky to have a management that provides and understands the needs of the people.
I'll take your word when you mentioned the bed of roses. There's no such thing as bed of roses. At sabi mo nga, Ms. Lyn, employees are lucky. Before we started the program, we were talking about people jumping from one company to another. And you know, yung habit na they're doing actually job hopping, transferring from one company to another, looking for parang additional salary or greener pasture.
Yeah, yung generation before, I'm part of the baby boomers. We focus more on job security, salary, loyalty, diba? Parang you cannot leave a certain employer if there is no a better alternative. Parang you stay for the fear that if you lose your job, you cannot just get another job, and what will happen to the education of your kids, your expenses, all their dreams, no? So we are afraid to explore greener pastures unless there is security, no security. But now, considering that we were exposed to that kind of employment, kami ngayon ng mga mothers, parang you want to give everything to your children. Actually, you made it easy for them. No? So they can just quit jobs without replacement. They do not fear that they will not eat. No, for them it's okay. No, as long as the parents will provide. But on the contrary, the millennials now are more competitive than during our generations. They are globally competitive because of the access to the internet. No, they know more. They can compete. Before yung mga Harvard, yung mga Oxford are only accessible to the elite, di ba? Ngayon, online learning is much cheaper compared dun sa ano. So everybody has access to education as long as they want to learn, no? And they are more competitive. So what are the challenges for the employers now? How to retain employees to become future successors of the company? Kasi they want to move from one employer to another, whichever company gives them a better pay or better opportunity, or they will have more work-life balance, they have opportunities to travel, no? Ang hirap to come up, it's difficult to come up with retention programs on how to make them stay. Kasi parating they're just waiting for the right opportunity, no? So I think the middle management position is now very challenging. Even, di ba, before pag middle management, wala na nagre-resign halos.
Yeah.
No? Ngayon, kahit middle management, ang dami nagre-resign. No? Kasi nga, ang dami ring opportunities. It depends on their goals. No? More on meron silang bigger bigger dreams. So if they cannot get it from the current employer, they will have to look for a better one. The millennials naman, they want flexibility in time. Sometimes they would rather work sa night shift rather than day shift. They don't like to be cramped in Japanese organization na may time in, time out. No? So yan yung mga challenges of the employers now. How to keep good employees, how to be able to develop successors of the organization, and also to align their goals and achieve objectives of the company. At the same time, kasi employees from their side have different goals. It is not aligned with the goals of the management. That is where the gap comes in, and kaya nagkakaroon ng maraming problems yung mga different companies. I think I've heard a lot na ang problems nila is the fast employee turnover.
When I was still employed, Ms. Lyn, a few years ago, before I left the corporate world, we've noticed kaming mga middle managers na iba yung attitude nung galing sa probinsya. Those people who graduated from the province versus the people who came actually from NCR. So you can actually see the difference when it comes to focus in work, priorities. And we've noticed that those people who came from the province are the ones staying long in the company.
I think it's because of the competitiveness, diba? May mga sa NCR, like mga exclusive schools, they are more competitive even outside the Philippines. So they don't stay much. And some, their parents can afford. You know? if they can afford to study in exclusive schools, they can also afford to lose their jobs anytime, no? And not fear of not eating 3 times a day. So yung mga nasa province, ako, laking probinsya, parang kahit na hirap ka na sa trabaho, hindi sumasagi sa isip ko yung mag-resign. Tiyaga-tiyaga lang, di ba? Ngayon hindi. But the millennials now, even if they're from the countryside, because of the access to internet, parang pareho na rin sila ng scarcity when it comes to yung security of tenure na they will stay in a certain company for life. Parang hindi na rin ganun trend ngayon. Kaya the company should invest a lot on people development. Sometimes, pag nakita ng employees yung opportunity for growth, no, to be able to rise up in the organization, to improve their benefits, that's what can keep them, no. Pero depende rin sa kanilang standards. If they have bigger dreams, no matter how you try to get hold of them, priority nila are their personal goals in life.
Ms. Lyn, di ba sabi nila it's lonely when you're on top position. Was there a time that you've experienced that? Na mahirap pala being on the top position kasi you were actually the highest Filipina.
Never. It never dawned on me na highest ka. Basta I'm so grounded, no? Janitor, security guard, tindera nung sa canteen. I enjoy being with people. I never get overwhelmed with my position. There are two sides. My top priority is to take responsibility. The perks just follow the privileges. It's just a bonus. I'm easy to take accountability for things. If things go right, I go wrong. I always tell myself, what did I miss out? How come I wasn't able to foresee this happening? So I am very fast to acknowledge responsibility and accountability for things. But when it comes to successes and better results, I don't get overwhelmed with it. You know, the Japanese, parang wala kang, your attitude is not on being the best. You're trained to have kaizen, continuous improvement. You just have to be better than yesterday, and again continuously make yourself better, because it's a continuous growth and learning experience. So there's always an opportunity to improve. So you don't get overwhelmed with your position. Position, it's just decoration siguro. And alam niyo ng mga employees namin, even the dealers, parang when it comes to dealers, they are the kings and queens, di ba? So yeah. You give 101% kasi you just don't satisfy customers or your stakeholders. You delight them with, you always make them exceed the expectations. You deliver results in advance. You without the need of them asking for it. You anticipate their needs. You anticipate the support or they need for their business to grow. No? So every business meeting with dealers, owners, is an opportunity for me to humble myself, no, and tell myself that marami pa akong kakain, bigas na. Hindi pa ako sila ng mga sobrang institutional when it comes to the business world. You just have to tell yourself na marami pa akong hindi alam. Hindi ka masyadong dapat na over. Kasi once you get overwhelmed with your position, that is your uh, death, or parang start na nung pagiging extinct mo. You will never grow. You'll stop learning once you feel you know everything.
Tama
Up
yun.
to now, I still read, try to learn new things. But one thing in me is that I know that there are always people who can do better than me. For example, we have a team. No? On the IT side, that's not my fault. I will not mess with their affairs. No, while I want the big picture, when it comes to executing their goals, I will not mess around with them. No. So you respect them. Na you hire good people. You do work with good people. No? And if you know they're better than you, let them do it. Let them do
Wow.
it. No, never, always, never think na mas better ka sa kanila. No. Kasi team nga kayo. You cannot achieve goals all by yourself. Without them, you're nothing. Ganon din yung mga Japanese. Eh. They try to get the support of the people. So, they also don't mess much into our affairs.
Ang dami mong sinabing maganda, Miss Lino, because team is really the key, yung sinabi mo. And siguro very inspiring at ang ganda sa isang leader na katulad mo, sabihin na lagi mong iniisip na ang dami mo pang dapat matutunan. Because seldom that we hear a leader probably mention those things.
Humility really is a virtue. No? Because there will always be somebody better, no, than you, richer than you, no, more popular than you. So if you will look at yourself like you already know everything, I think you'll be frustrated. Eh. Marami kang disappointments in life. Ako, I celebrate small milestones in my life. Sobrang babaw lang. No? In the office, I laugh a lot. No? I never take myself too seriously. No? Mayroon kasi pag sineryoso, masyado yung sarili mo. Eh, di ba? Parang you're not capable of committing mistakes. Lahat naman nagkakamali. Diba? So, when I commit mistakes, I'm easy to say sorry. I'm easy to take accountability for it. What is more important is how to do better. No? Yung mga Japanese, yan ang number one nila. Wala ka nang kiyaw-kiyaw pa, wala ka pang reason kung bakit ka nagkamali. Just say sorry.
Wow.
You're forgiven na. Oh. But don't do it again. You learn from it.
So that's how the Japanese culture.
Yeah. You cannot engage in blame game with Japanese executives. Be accountable.
Wow. Siguro that's the difference of having like a Japanese and a Filipino bosses sometimes, or yung mga...
I work with Filipino executives, owners, because after Suzuki, I had a consultancy with the family corporation. There's not much difference na. Kasi professional organization din naman yung napuntahan ko. They're so professional. They value the loyalty, the importance of your contribution to the organization. They're also very grateful for what you have done for the company. So I'm also grateful that I was able to get the trust of the people I work with when it comes to my genuine concern for the company. That's one thing. You can say na hindi ka feeling ikaw na yung pinakamagaling. Pero pwede kang mag-feeling owner of the company when it comes to concern about the company.
Yeah.
So parang when the processes are taken for granted, hindi nasusunod yung mga policies, and there's a lot of wastage or fraud. Parang, ang feeling ko, parang ako na yung niloloko. Parang ganun, parang I have to do something about it. No? Kasi yung malasakit mo dun sa company, you have to act like and think like owners when it comes to how to protect the interests of the company. No? Pagka ganun kasi yung attitude mo, nafe-feel naman yun ng mga higher ups mo, yung mga people you work for. They know that you care about the company, that yung malasakit mo is genuine. They do acknowledge and appreciate that.
Ms. Lee, before we go to my next question, I want to read lang some of the comments. Hi, Miss SP. More power. Miss SP, I will contact you. We hope to have you here at the corporate. I'll message you. Sabi niya, more power to Miss Lee, who is very smart and knowledgeable about the corporate world. And then si Miss Sally Awayan, I honor you.
They used to be my boss in SGB. She was my mentor, friend, big sister.
Kaya palagi sinabi niya, I honor you with your achievements both in your career and your family life.
Thank you, Ninang.
And then from Joel Principio, sabi niya, I am watching. So thank you everyone for watching. Kay Miss Ness, hi Ma'am Lyn.
Hi Ness.
Hi Ness. And then Ronald Bautista, shout out daw po. And then from, wow, hello Ma'am Lyn, sabi ni Judy Bautista.
Yeah, Judy is one of my mentees. Parang successors ko yan na dinevelop. However, ang kanyang destiny is to be in the US. I think she's now handling a managerial position in the US. No? And I'm very proud of her. No? I love you, Judy. You know that.
Thank you guys for watching. And hi, Miss Gina Strabon, our section editor for Ang Pinoy. And hi, Leonard, good evening. And then from Edna, watching from Kabuyao, hello to my ex-boss.
She's a senior manager, si Edna. Hi, Edna. Kumusta ka na?
And then Norvi Ubaldo. Hi, Ma'am Lyn. Nice seeing you again.
Yeah, one of my managers din yan.
Ayan. And then meron din si Ledin Maloles. Hinahay niya sina Judy, Hilario, Edna, iba-iba. And then sabi ni Jens Castillo, hi, Ma'am Lyn. So those
hi, Jens. One of my managers din before.
Wow.
Ang dami kong mga co-employees ko sila sa Suzuki before.
Ayan. And sabi nga ni Norby, she's a good mentor. Sabi niya ganon. Tapos from Arnel Santiago, good evening po, tita, and God bless.
Thank you.
Miss Lyn, I'm seeing, we had you in Ang Pinoy, and now we have you here in the carpet. And I always see a lot of, parang love coming from your ex-employees or ex-office mates. Anong sikreto? What's the secret?
You connect to their hearts, diba? Kasi it's a result of tough love. Maraming niluha rin yung mga yan sa akin pag na-office ko. All about work, trabaho. I don't spend so much time mentoring about work because it's a given thing. Technically, you should know but when it comes to character issues, molding their characters and values, instilling good values as far as professionalism, respect for people, love for the company, loyalty, integrity, of course, above all integrity. I spend a lot of extra time with them beyond office hours. That's the kind of mentoring that I did for my people because those are timeless, no? Walang end yung kind of concern na may bibigay mo sa mga tao. Kaya nga mother, I always embrace their problems. I'm also a problem solver. I give them advices which somehow will make them more focused on their work. Kasi pagka ang tao may personal problems, I don't think they can focus. So I also, parang ginawa ko ng responsibility ko to be part of their lives. In other words, pakialaman ako when it comes to their personal lives. Parang, kasi yung genuine concern mo for them, kasi parang anak mo eh, di ba? Makita mo, for example, kailangan mag-absent, yung mga family issues. You help them solve their family issues, no? So that they would know how to make decisions. Hindi kasi po pwedeng, we love our family, but can you afford not to work? Diba? If you cannot afford not to work, no, then you balance your decisions. Will it affect your work? Can you do it at the same time? You solve your problems at the same time, not neglect your duties. So it takes a lot of understanding from the heart to be able to make them feel your love and concern, not just about results. Kasi parang shooting two birds in one stone. You help them solve their personal problems and at the same time you achieve the goals ng company to be able to have ready reports, ma-accomplish yung mga goals nila within deadlines. So you make, you also train them to become better managers in the future. So while nagti-transition pa sila dun sa staff level before, ay pareho lang ang style ko, whether staff ka pa lang, manager ka, or nasa middle ka, supervisor ka. Hindi ako nagbabago ng style. When it comes to calling their attention about they're missing out on good values, no? We talk inside a closed door. Pagka may mga umiiyak na lumalabas, na closed door ko na. Kasi I want them to feel na you owe your people, you have to fix your life. You have to be a better person for them to look up to you. Kasi kung if you have a messy life, no, at you cannot even balance yung mga problems mo, your personal life affects your work, that means you cannot be a good leader. Diba? You really have to solve your personal issues first before you can achieve the company goals. So, yun, I'm so personal in dealing with them. And I contribute to the growth of the organization. So it's never difficult. Parang sabi ko, it's just like being at home. They're my second family. You laugh with them, sometimes nagagalit ka rin, sinasabihan mo rin sila. No? So, you have to be a master of paradox. Minsan mabait, minsan mataray. Alam din nila na when it's serious, serious. You really cannot joke around when we have goals to achieve. We really have to focus on finishing deadlines.
Miss Lyn, we all know that yung percentage natin ngayon sa mga babaeng leader ay hindi pa rin ganun kalaki. Especially in the Philippines. It's still male-dominated, no? I want to ask lang, what do you think are the advantages of, having a lady on top of the company?
Alam mo, when it comes to decision making, sabi lang soft tayo kasi we're emotional, no? Pero I am able to balance, and I believe the mere fact that we have been through a lot of pains, no? Kami yung nanganak, di ba? No? Kami yung minsan meron ring mga husbands, di ba? Mas nag-stand out minsan yung wife, pero still intact pa rin yung family, no? When it comes to understanding the emotional side of our people, mas may panahon ang motherly na leader So I'm not saying that we can be better. Parang we are just more exposed to lots of personal problems of our children. So nakukonect natin yon sa ating mga employees. And I think some of people would like that, no? When it comes naman doon sa parang medyo mga macho type, ayaw nila nung motherly care, I can also be like that, no? Kasi Japanese, I used to handle Japanese executives din. They don't care about you being a woman, no? But I can get my message across, no? You can be firm at the same time, setting aside your being a woman, no? Basta trabaho lang, no? So I'm not saying we have edge over men. Hindi naman ako feminist. I'm a mother, no? So I understand people. You know, I've seen great leaders na lalaki talaga. They can be more firm. Aminado ko, hindi sila masyadong affected ng emotions, no? And if you have that kind of leader in organization, parang tapos ikaw babae, parang magbe-blend in yung you will come up a great team, no? Because the soft side you have, the hard nasa kanya lahat. So I think it will be also a better combination.
Balance. Mabilis ang oras, Miss Lim. Talaga pag tama ka, nakulang sa atin. I have last...
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, so last two questions, Miss Lino. I want to ask lang, how would you describe your life in the corporate world for the past 30-something years? Sabi mo last time sa akin.
Colorful. Colorful, challenging. Alam naman ako, medyo kikay. Lahat, I enjoyed the corporate world. Even after the time that I was a consultant, I was able to develop relationship with the middle management, top management. No, I-enjoy ko lang lahat. No, I love to be with people. I love to mess with their personal lives as long as I can contribute to their professionalism and betterment. No? For me, I love to do it. No, not for them, but for myself. No, for myself. Anak ko nanonood yata.
Kaya akala, si Kat ba yan?
Kim.
Si Kim. Si Kim?
Okay. I don't know kung nanonood yung mga anak ko.
Last na lang, Lyn. Last probably, what's your advice to, I want to categorize it. Your advice to young people who actually wants to look for a job. So, siguro ang tatanong ko, anong advice mo doon sa mga naghahanap? Anong dapat nilang hanapin na kumpanya? That's the first one. Second one, what's your advice to employees, especially at this time, pandemic, very challenging time?
Okay, dun sa new applicants, look for opportunities for growth better than salaries. No? Kasi ako, I sacrifice that because I find SGV a very professional organization. Dream ko to be with SGV. So I know minimum wage kami lahat doon. So for me, kahit na struggling family kami financially, I look at the future more in terms of training and development, being able to flourish my career. Nakita ko yon. So you have to look for that kind of company which will give you the opportunity to grow yourself. No? For the existing employees, learn more about your current responsibilities. Do not rush getting out. Kasi baka yung opportunity to handle higher responsibilities and higher positions, baka hindi mo yun ma-hone masyado yung skills mo if you keep on transferring to another company. An organization which can bring out the best in you. No, you have to spend a lot of time learning everything And yung mga financial rewards maybe can follow later. No? So you just moderate your personal gratification kasi there's a time for that. No? Dadating ka dun sa time na yun. Things will not be much hard when it comes to financial issues. No? But develop yourself first. Grow as a leader. No? And empower yourself. No? You try to reach out to bigger responsibilities. Never be afraid to accept higher challenges and responsibilities in an organization. No? Because if you become content with what you're doing, that's also the stop of your growth. No?
Wow. Ganda na sinabi mo dun, Miss Lyn, no? It's actually an eye-opener probably for some who wants to transfer from one company to another. Lyn, thank you so much. Always an inspiring talaga discussion kapag ikaw.
Oo nga, kahit ako hindi ko alam. Naka 1 hour na pala tayo. So, hello out there, mga friends ko, mga ex-co employees. Love ko kayong lahat, alam niyo yan.
Wow. May mga nag-comment pa. So thank you so much, Ms. Lyn. Thank you for staying with us. You know, when we started the corporate, si Ms. Lyn was with us already. So thank you so much.
Basta ikaw, alam mo naman.
At talagang sabi ko nga, ganyan yung kamay ko sa kanya. So thank you so much, Ms. Lyn. Thank you so much, everyone. I want to plug lang. We will be launching our digital magazine. So our covers here. His name is Antonio Toledano. He is the General Manager of Ibero Asistencia. This is our July-August issue, which you can actually read at Press Reader. But you have to subscribe from Press Reader, and you can also read that at our website, thecorporate.online. Pero you have to subscribe starting August 8th. And before that, this episode will also be uploaded at our YouTube channel called The Corporate Channel. And every week, we will upload interviews with different CEOs from the Philippines and soon from other countries. So, muli po, everyone, this is Chaisel, and we will see you again for another episode of The Corporate Stories on Monday. Our guest for next week is actually an employee currently based in Vietnam. She's a director also, but handling the tourism industry naman, hotels. So yun po yung magiging guest natin for next week. And we hope to have Miss SP soon. So,
okay, thank you, Jason.
Good luck everyone for watching.
New project. Okay, bye.
Bye,
everyone.